Well, this is it. I'm finally leaving Virginia, driving down to Florida. It is 6:40 in the morning. I'm trying to beat a little bit of the traffic and obviously not spend a lot of time recording on my phone while I'm driving, but I just wanted to let everyone know that I am headed off to Florida and hopefully can find activities to occupy myself for the next 3 months or so as I plan my trip to Europe. I've got a lot on my list. I have to talk to a tax professional, figure out business. I want to plot my trip around Europe. A lot of people have given me suggestions so far, and I'm hoping they continue to do so because there's a lot of things that I would like to see, but I have already heard so many places that I'd never heard of before from people who've commented or sent me messages. So please keep those coming, and I will give some periodic updates while I'm making my way down to Florida. So I have about 12 and a half hours to drive. Hopefully I can make some good time, and I think I might hit Richmond right at rush hour, but that's all right. I've got some good tunes in the car to listen to, and I'm excited to see my parents, and hopefully I make it in time for dinner. Hello again. As you can see, the sun is looking like it's wanting to come up now. As you can see behind me, I have got this car loaded front to back, end to end. By the time I finished all this packing, I resorted to throwing my clothing in garbage bags because I just didn't have the patience to pack everything up neatly anymore. But I'm fortunate in that this car has cameras in it, so I have a right side camera, so I don't have to worry about being able to see through the windows on the right, and I also have a backup camera so that I don't need to be able to see through the back window. Not ideal, but will serve the purpose for this trip. So the question is how to turn a 12-hour car ride into a condensed YouTube video. I think I have an idea.
I burn like a wicker cabinet, short, white, and oh so frail. I see our time has gotten stale. The tick-tock of the clock is painful, all sane and logical. I wanna tear it off the wall.
All right, I've made it to my first rest stop. It is, I think, a little after 8 a.m. I'm hoping to pick up a phone mount because mine got broken by the woman who runs the storage facility. She ripped it off the moving truck because I accidentally left it in there. But I'm hoping to pick up a new one because I'm at a truck stop and I'm filling up my first tank of gas. I'm almost out of Virginia, and I will continue to keep you updated.
Because I wanna be a cowboy, baby, with a top left back and the sunshine shining. Cowboy, baby, West Coast chilling with the blues. I wanna be a cowboy, baby, riding at night 'cause I sleep all day. Cowboy, baby.
All right, back on the road, and I found myself a $15 car mount. I'm in business, full tank of gas, mount for my phone. I'm good for another 600 and some odd miles to Florida.
Stick shifts and safety belts, bucket seats have all got to go when we're driving in the car. It makes my baby seem so far. I need you here with me, not way over in a bucket seat. I need you to be here with me, not way over in a bucket seat.
So now that I'm outside of Richmond in Southern Virginia, I think this is going to be what my road is going to look like up ahead for the rest of the trip. So should be smooth sailing. I have about 10 hours and just shy of 700 miles left to go. And I've got my Soylent chocolate flavor, which is pretty tasty. You can get some nutritional value while I'm driving. I try to avoid stopping as much as possible. I pretty much just stop to fill up my gas tank. That way I can get there as fast as possible because I prefer not to. It's about a little less than a 12-hour trip, a little more depending on traffic. I try to do it all in one trip, so got that to keep me going. I've got some Reese's Pieces thanks to some of my coworkers who gave this as a going away gift. And I also have some almonds and some granola bars. And then I'm currently listening to Bare Naked Ladies. I forget the name of the album. You know, bringing me back to high school, because the only CDs that I have, I still have one of these in my car. And the only CDs that I have in it are CDs from high school and maybe some college, since nobody buys CDs anymore. It's easier than trying to flip through a playlist. So starting with some Bare Naked Ladies, and then maybe we'll move on to some Blink-182. I'm not sure yet, but should be pretty easy going for the rest of the drive.
Pour some sugar on me. In the name of love, pour some sugar on me. Come on, fire it up. Pour your sugar on me. Get enough. I'm hot, sticky, sweet. From my head to my feet.
Goodbye, Virginia.
I'm free. Free falling. Yeah, I'm free. Free falling.
I have been driving from down the East Coast to Florida for, I've done it about 6 times in my life, probably half a dozen times. I went when I was 9 years old to go to Disney World. Went again when I was 13 to Disney. I've also driven to Florida on my own when I worked down at Disney World, so I worked there twice, and one of the times I drove down and moved there for a year. And then I drove down earlier this year with my dog to visit my parents for Christmas. So I've been at least 4 times I've driven to Florida, and I pass south of the border every single time, and I've never stopped in there. There's about 100 billboards before you get there. There used to be more when I was a kid, and they were newer. They look a little bit faded, and there's fewer of them, I think. But if any of you have ever been to south of the border, please comment and let me know exactly what goes on there. And I assume it's not really worth stopping for. It looks very just like a kind of a tourist trap, but I'd love to hear what you think, so comment below. The trip is actually going quite well. Let me turn the camera around. The road's still relatively clear. The traffic hasn't been too bad, but I have to say, one of my biggest pet peeves driving are people that drive in the left-hand lane. Now, I don't have a good example of it at this moment because everybody who's in the left lane seems to be passing someone right now, but the number of people that I have come up behind who just stay in the left lane, there, thank you, Texas, is infuriating. In Maine, where I am from, it is illegal to cruise in the left lane. If you are not passing someone, you shouldn't be in the left lane at all. And now in Washington, D.C., nobody obeys this rule. And there'll be, certain areas of D.C. have 3 or 4 lanes. And people just cruise in whatever lane they want to cruise in. For the record, the far left lane, and if there's an HOV lane, then it's the second from the far left, is the passing lane. And if you are not passing someone, just move over, because those of us who are traveling 800 miles in a single day want to be able to get there as fast as possible. So I'm being careful, I'm being safe, but please don't cruise in the left-hand lane. And if someone is coming up behind you, just move over, and preferably do it using your blinker. All right, that's my rant for this drive.
But the letter said, wow, it's good living with you. Wow, it's good. Wow, wow, wow. It's good living with you. Wow, it was good.
So now I get to go back to my awesome CDs from high high school, college. I've listened to some Everclear. I listened to the Can't Hardly Wait soundtrack, and I'm now on my road trip CD number 2 from when I visited New York City my freshman year of college with my best friend from college, Kristen. I am really enjoying the jams for this trip.
Bright lights flashing the cover of the lane. So many people, so many problems, so many reasons around. Let the round, drink it down, just another night on the town. With the big man, money man, better than the other man. He got the plan with the $1 million, give it down. Ain't nobody understands. It becomes a smaller man. The bright lights keep flashing. And no one keep on dancing with the clouds. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Pick me up when I'm down. Yeah, yeah. The rodeo clowns. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Pick me up when I'm down. Yeah, yeah.
All right, I just got done fill up number 2. I'm in South Carolina, and I'm stopping at Chick-fil-A. I haven't had Chick-fil-A in a really long time, and I'm really excited about it. So, time to eat some lunch. So this is kind of funny, but I went through the Chick-fil-A line, and this is one of those restaurants that has 2 windows, one on either side of the building, and I didn't realize that. So I have all this stuff here stacked up in front of my window. Had I known, I would have tried to go through the one where you get it on the driver's side, but I thought only Checkers. I'm gonna have to pull up really close to them. All right, I got through the Chick-fil-A line without incident, and I just have to say, I really love the Chick-fil-A employees. They're always incredibly friendly and good service, fast. So, stop number 2, it's a success.
Baby, baby, come on, baby, come on, baby, come on. When you walk by every night, talking sweet and looking fine, I get kinda hectic inside. Baby, I'm so into you, darling. If you only knew all the fears that go through my mind. Love is just as
Introducing the old, dirty doggy.
Hey Mariah, go back like babies and pacifiers. Older dog Mariah, keep your fantasy hot like fire. Jump, jump, let me see you do the stomp. Girls, let me see you shake your rump. Fellas, go back to front, just do it, do it, do. I'm a little bit country, I'm a little bit rock. I'm so big letters on big and bold. Oh, dirty bastard blues.
Hello, Florida.
Been a whole lot easier since the bitch left town. Been a whole lot happier with that face around. Nobody else says that I'm stomp and shout. Nobody at the back door gonna throw my laundry out. She holds her shotgun while you dose it dough. She wants one man, made a Hercules and Cyrano. Been a lot easier since the bitch is gone. Little miss, little miss, little miss can't be wrong. Little miss, little miss, little miss can't be wrong. Ain't nobody gonna bow no more when you sound it gone. Little miss, little miss, little miss can't be wrong. What you gonna do to get into another one of these now rock and roll songs?
All right, I made it to Florida. I still have 3 hours left and 165 miles to go, but I'm here in my new home state for the next 3 months, and what will be my home base state for when I'm traveling overseas. So no income tax here, which is awesome. However, my car insurance and renter's insurance is higher thanks to hurricanes and this being a no-fault state for drivers. So now I just need to fill my gas tank one last time and then make the home stretch.
Say falls flat on the floor. I try to tell and choke. I've heard it before. Think I can take it no more. It's driving me right out my front door. Why do you do what you do to me, baby?
It was a fairly uneventful drive, but I made it here safely, and it took about 12 hours as expected, so cannot complain. And now I am going to get some rest, have some dinner with my folks, and later this week start working on everything that I have planned. So stay tuned.
made it to my new home, or at least my new neighborhood. I can already tell I'm going to struggle with the 20-mile-an-hour speed limit that they have here. But there's plenty of people driving really slow to keep you in check.